Hey guys, what is up? It's your boy Vajalarazzi here, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different from my normal video routine. I tried to make this video once already, however, the quality was just absolutely terrible. I had troubles recording it. I actually uploaded a completely raw, unedited version, and it was just absolutely terrible. So I'm going to try again, and we're going to try and do this video and remake it, and maybe make this one a little bit better for you guys. I wanted to kind of start doing a little bit of a vlog series where I talk about different stories that have happened to me inside of crypto and just some things like that that doesn't normally get talked about inside of my normal video routine. Today I'm going to be telling you guys a little bit of a story that happened a little over a year ago. That story is the time that I liquidated 90% of my crypto portfolio. And it was honestly really shitty. I mean, I was just a new guy getting into this, so liquidating all of my money basically overnight, that was a big wake-up call, and it's actually something that taught me a lot when it came to my trading plan and developing as a profitable trader. So I thought that I would share this story for you guys. If you're somebody that went through this bear market, made some profits, or maybe you're somebody that just bought the top and lost a bunch of money down throughout this entire bear market. I know that there's a lot of people that lost money throughout this bear market. I've talked to quite a few. In crypto, there's going to be people that are winning, and then there's going to be people that are losing. And if you're a new guy that's getting into this, you're going to be losing a lot because that's just the name of the game. Sometimes you just have to learn to take losses because, unfortunately, I know from my perspective especially, the best way for me to learn is by making a failure and taking a loss. So even though if you're failing inside of crypto, understand that there's always a point or a message that can be learned from that. If you're taking losses and you're not coming away with something that's been learned, then you're not going to be advancing as a trader. So I wanted to tell you guys this story and kind of talk about my own war story that happened the time that I lost 90% of my crypto portfolio. This comes at a time where I was fairly new to trading. I'd probably been doing it for at least 6 months by this time. I'd made a little bit of money, but overall I was pretty much just a noob. So I was trading and I was working along for this startup company. We would sell a trading course, and we had a group on a Discord. I think we had like at least 1,000 members on there, maybe more. And we sold this course. We started to actually make some pretty decent money. We got signed on with some affiliate marketers, and we were making pretty decent money selling our course. And so my boss, or my friend, he was in charge of the company, and a lot of you guys know who he is. I'm not going to name names for the sake of this video. I'd have to talk to him about it. Maybe he'd want to come on and actually talk about this story with me. However, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to mention names. Anyways, we were making pretty good money, and my friend, he decided that it was coming up towards Christmas, and he decided that he was going to give us a Christmas bonus. So this Christmas bonus was a pretty substantial amount of money. In fact, it made up quite a bit of my crypto portfolio. I think it was at least 40 to 50% that I had at the time. I get this Christmas bonus, and I'm just so excited. The markets are looking exceptionally well. It was right before Bitcoin made its rally to 20K, so all the charts just looked amazing. I was so excited. I sat there and I was going through doing technical analysis on all these charts, just so excited. I was in pure euphoria before I'd even made the trade. And so I'm looking around, doing my TA on different coins, thinking about which ones I was going to accumulate and buy with all this new money. And then I happened to stumble across a leverage trading site I'm sure many of you guys have heard of called BitMEX. Now, BitMEX is a site, for you guys that do not know, that allows leverage trading, and that leverage trading goes from anywhere from 1x to 100x leverage. And so I was sitting there and I thought about that, and I was like, wow, well, I got all this new money. Like, I've already got some of my coins I've accumulated. Like, why not just throw some of this Christmas bonus into this leverage trading and see if I can make some money? So if you're not familiar with BitMEX, there's a little calculator button that's up there, and you can use it, and it'll kind of help you track your percentages, and it can help you time your stop loss, or it can help you to project your profit total for if you exit the trade. And so I was sitting there and I started messing around with this calculator, And before I had even made a trade, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, if I take out 100x leverage at this price and it goes up this and this much percentage, then I'll have this much money in profit. So I was sitting there, before I'd even made the trade, I was just in pure euphoria. I was sitting there in my head calculating all these percentages. Well, if I made this much and if this trade went this way, then I'd be able to buy a new car and I'd be able to do this and this. And so, you know, when you're a new guy and you've yet to necessarily make a whole lot of profitable trades, you generally get into this like sort of hopium phase where you're constantly thinking about the very highest, best possibility that could ever happen, and you're trying to make that your constant reality. And let me just say, trading is not the game to be playing if you're developing that sort of a mindset. Trading is a very methodical game based off of probabilities where you take small risk positions for a potential great reward outcome. And so by using leverage trading, what you don't want to do is exactly what I did. And what I did was I thought that taking out all this extra leverage could mean that I could just have a huge position that I normally couldn't. What happened was I was sitting there and I was tracking all these percentages, just getting in pure euphoria before I even made the trade. So we're sitting there and I'm just so excited. And so finally I decide that I'm going to open up a position. So here I go, 50x leverage, open up this huge position that I had no reason even starting in the first place. So I opened this position, and my liquidation price was fairly low at the time. I thought that there was no way the prices were going to go touch that. However, when you're trading 100x leverage, it doesn't take a very big swing to liquidate your entire account. So I was sitting there, I get over leveraged on this 100x margin position, and I'm sitting here, and what happens was it started to go down a little bit. And at this time, my liquidation price was low enough to where I wasn't worried about it necessarily. I was kind of just, you know, I thought that it'd be fine. And so I was sitting there, and it started to go lower, and then it went lower, and then it started to go lower again, till eventually I started to get a little bit anxious. It started to come a little bit close, a little bit too close for comfort to my liquidation price. Keep in mind, I wasn't running with a stop loss. I was going balls deep. I was just going to get rich or die trying. So here I am, over leveraged, and that price starts dipping lower and lower till it gets close to my liquidation price. And I'm sitting there starting to get a little bit anxious. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I know it's going to go up and I know this is going to moon. So how about I just go and sell some of my other positions on my other exchanges and take out some of that money and put it into my leverage account so I can lower my liquidation price. So here I go, selling all my other positions that I've been accumulating for quite some time, all for one trade. And so I go and sell those, put all my money back into this one leverage trade. And here I am. 90% of my crypto portfolio is riding on this one trade that I just know is going to moon. I know that I'm going to be so rich. I was sitting there after I dropped my liquidation price. It was lower than I had ever had it before, so I just knew that I was going to get rich. I was sitting there, and it was coming close towards bedtime, and I was just so excited. I remember sitting there just thinking about all the things I could buy if this just moons, and how I was just going to get so rich as soon as Bitcoin went up again. And so the next morning I wake up, and the first thing I hear as soon as I wake up is somebody crying downstairs. Now, I didn't know who it was or what was going on. I knew that my buddy that ran this platform and sold a course, I knew that he was doing the same thing that I was, and he was taking a really big position out too. However, he was a little bit better of a trader at the time, so I didn't necessarily think that he was going to be over leveraged to the extent that I was. So the next morning rolls around, and I wake up, and I just hear crying from downstairs. And then I just hear, I'm such an idiot. 50 grand, all of my profits are gone. Why did I do this? I'm so stupid. And I sat there and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So I'm sitting there and I just have this feeling in my stomach. Felt like somebody just punched me in the gut. And I just knew that something major had happened. And so I pull up my computer. I get on there, check my email, and the very first email that I have is from BitMEX. And they say, warning, your account has been liquidated. And I sat there and I was just like, oh my God. 90% of my crypto portfolio was liquidated overnight in one move, one trade. All of my money was gone. I had 10% left of what I originally had. My entire Christmas bonus, all of my profits from the initial rally up, gone by one dumb trade. So I'm sitting there and I was just sad. I was depressed. You know, you go through all of the emotional cycle and you go through those emotions very strongly, especially when you lose all of your money in one trade. So I'm sitting there and I'm just devastated that I did that. I was so mad at myself. And then I hear some footsteps coming upstairs. And then there's my friend, and he's crying, he's tears in his eyes. He comes into my room and he's like, I got liquidated, I don't know what I'm going to do, I lost all of my profits. And keep in mind, I don't think his loss was as substantial as far as how much of his portfolio it was, but as far as what he lost in that one trade, it was significantly more than what I had in my entire portfolio. So we're both just sitting there and we're both feeling the emotions hard. We got wrecked, and that is an understatement. We got destroyed in this market. So my friend leaves and he goes into his room and we carry about our day, but that was the story that I had for you guys, was the time that I liquidated 90% of my crypto portfolio. And not only that, but my buddy liquidated over 50 grand of profits in that one trade as well. And so I wanted to make you guys this story and talk about it a little bit, because a lot of the times you don't hear about the negative sides of trading or the negative aspect to trading. You always hear about some of the pros will get on Twitter and they'll talk about the time that they made this much money or they did this trade and got that. You really only hear about the positives when it comes to crypto. People, it hurts their pride to talk about the times that they really screwed up and lost a lot of money. And so most people refuse to talk about it. But me, I feel like the best way to really help other people grow as a trader is to talk about your own personal experiences that you've had, whether it be negative or positive. It happens. And so there's really no reason to hide from it. If you're hiding from it, then you're not facing it. And so you really haven't even dealt with your problem in the first place. I know that I'm leaps and bounds past where I was as a trader when I made this mistake, and it benefited me so much. And so by telling this story, I just hope to give you guys a few tips for what not to do if you're a beginner trader. Number one, do not mess with leverage trading if you are just getting into this or you're fairly new. If you can't profitably trade in a bullish and a bearish market, then there's no reason that you should ever even be mentioning or looking to start trading in leverage. It's a completely different game, and you really have to be on your shit if you're going to be profitable doing it. So rule number one, if you're a new guy, don't start leverage trading. And I mean, if you have a mentor that's automatically teaching you how to leverage trade off the start, then maybe you can do that. But for the most part, stay away from it. It's not something that the average person should just go in thinking that they'll profitably trade it, because you won't. And there's a huge room for error if you do it wrong. So that's rule number one. Rule number two, don't over leverage, whether it's in a single trade, a leverage trade, it doesn't matter. Do not over leverage your position. All it takes is that coin or that trade to go down against you. And if you're not positioned in the right way, it can wreck your entire account. If you go and put 90% of your portfolio into one trade and it goes down, you're losing all of your portfolio in that one trade, compared to if you're taking small, sizable risk positions, then you're going to do far better off. Say that you only use 1 to 3% of your portfolio in one trade, and then that trade goes up 50%. You're going to be making so much more in the long run than if you get in the mindset thinking, I don't have enough, and then you go throw all of your money into one move, and then that one move wrecks you, and then you're screwed. So don't do that. That's rule number two. Rule number three, keep a level head inside of the markets. Don't get too high on yourself or your ability as a trader. When you get too high on yourself, you're oftentimes ready to make a mistake. And if you get too over leveraged, or if you get too excited and emotional, that one mistake can really just destroy your entire account. So don't do that, guys. Anyways, this is what I had for you guys today. I wanted to give you guys this little story in this little vlog. I plan to do more videos like this in the future. This is the worst trade that I've ever made as a trader. It really wrecked me. In fact, it destroyed my account, and it hurt my pride a lot. So if you're a new guy, and you made a ton of losses throughout this bear market, or if you bought the top at 20K and you're still holding all of these losses, just hold through. Just understand that losses happen and it's a part of the game, especially in volatile markets like crypto. It will happen, and the best thing that you can do for yourself is just learn to minimize that risk involved. Once you can learn to minimize the risk, then you're going to be way more profitable as a trader, and you're not going to be liquidating 90% of your crypto portfolio. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.